Bro, you know how like in movies you have the or not in even in movies I should say, but movies somewhat capture what I'm trying to say. You know how in movies people have like Thanos, people have like Eisen, people have like Madara, right? Are there people like that in real life? Like, are there just people, real life supervillains who just wake up on the daily, like, just prepared to do harm to other people? Like, I know people like Baby Kia exist, where he's like, how long did they say they locked him up? They said they put him in the prison room or something. They locked him up for over 700 years. Like, what do you have to do to get put in prison for 700 years? Like, he is even going to live that long. Like, was that just a contingency plan of like, if he just killed the death itself? I'm so confused. But like, it's not even that because people have actually ran the like Baby Kia joke dry. Have you like? Have any of you who like are watching this video? Have any of you ever heard of this Kenneth Copeland guy? He like owns a church and stuff, right? And he literally looks like a real life supervillain. The same way like Johann Liebert is supposed to be. Are you mad? Okay. In the same way, Johan Lierber is supposed to be like, oh, top 10 anime manipulator, right? This guy literally looks like a supervillain. I looked at a picture of him. It's like there's no life behind his eyes. Like that, it's actually really terrifying to think that there are actually people like that that actually exist, right? If you really deep away. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of him. Copeland. Like there are people genuinely are convinced that he might be Satan, and it's like, dude, what do you have to do, right? Because obviously there's been no pictures of like Satan ever, right? Any real pictures. What do you have to do to look so evil looking that people think that you're Satan? Look at this guy. It doesn't matter if he's smiling. Look at his eyes. He doesn't seem completely real. There's something about him that just doesn't sit right with me. Look at those eyes. Look at him. He's smiling. He's sitting in his rich house. Like it looks like he stares a hole through you. Right. This is the one specific picture. Like if you look at the way he's looking at this reporter, right? He's like he always talks about demons, exercising demons. He might be the demon, right? It's really deeper. Like also apparently he's really rich. I don't know what he does. I watched one like YouTube video about mega churches where this guy owns a mega church where he preaches how God wants you to be rich, blah blah blah, this that, and the third. Like, and now even though I'm not too familiar on Christian theology, that's like up to another British guy that I know, right? But I'm not too. I don't think God is too keen on you trying to hoard money. So this guy might actually just be a religious supervillain. That's my idea at this point. Like this guy might as well just be a religious supervillain. He's trying to take everybody's money. But the issue is, what would you even do with all of that money? Like aside from all of the negative effects that like having all that money does to the people around you. But what would you actually do even if you had all of that money? Like, okay, think about it. You buy a mansion, you retire all of your family. That's even if he cares about his family. This guy might genuinely just be evil, right? He retires his family, right? He buys everything he wants on a whim, right? But at the end of the day, there's only so far. Wait a minute. There's only so far that money can actually take you. Like, what would he be doing in his spare time? I'm so confused. Like, think about it. He's having a boring day at work. He's just like manipulated 10 different people, right? Into believing God wants him to like or wants them to give him their money. But like what would he do after that? Like I want to know what the average day to Kenneth Copeland looks like, right? This guy he's kept trying to dunk on me. It hasn't really worked. Wait. Oh my god, wait. Okay, dude. If I was in my prime, I promise you. I promise you I'm negging this guy. Let me go on Pokey. But what would he actually be doing in his spare time? Like if you really deep it. He has nothing particularly interesting. Like he doesn't look like he does anything interesting. You reckon you could sit with this guy and have like a nice bottle of Coke, right? Like just a nice chat with the guy. Because it generally seems like he'd take your soul and try and like just sell you for some money. Like that's genuinely just looks like the type of guy he is. Like anyway, Snapchat, but that genuinely looks like the type of guy he is. Like those type of people are actually like I'm not gonna say scared because that's actually me. I don't know why I'd be scared of another man, but he actually, I wouldn't want to sit in the same room as him for an extended period, if you get what I mean, right? But another thing that I wanted to talk about is like, if we really deep here, money is like, money really has no point towards it, right? If like you have all the money, you can have all the money in the world, right? And you still, it can make you like, if your like ideals are related towards money, it can make you like feel happy. The money genuinely isn't going to be like something that actually is going to be the core of your happiness. You want money to be able to do things that make you happy. Money in itself, or having money in itself, isn't going to make you happy unless you're like Franklin Saint and that. And it's like, okay, bet, fair enough, right? You're really about, you're dedicated, right? But money in itself isn't actually going to make you happy. If you really think about it, isn't the whole point of like doing something you like, oh, you want to hang out with your friends, or oh, you want to like what's it called, time flies when you're having fun. Basically everything you're doing is just like a countdown until you like die, basically, right? And like hanging out with friends and doing what you like the most is just you basically not being able to experience as much as that time, not being able to experience the whole thing. So in the same way where you like hang out with your friends for one day, that day doesn't feel as like long as a regular day should be, right? In the same way, you always have a limited number of those days, right? Those days are going to be something that like you aren't actually going to have forever, right? So instead of like I mean, you are really savoring the time, you're doing something that you like, but people seem to like I don't know, I don't really know the philosophy around there. It's like you go out and spend time with your friends, you do something that you like, right? No, and you, most people don't really realize that that's basically just you speeding up the experience until you die, right? But you think about it, even if you don't do something that you like, or you don't do something that you like, and every day you fully experience and you appreciate each minute of a 24-hour long day, right? And you eventually, you're still going to die anyway, right? And you'd have basically done nothing with your life. You wouldn't have done anything you enjoyed. Let's say you have a really good job, you have like you're really rich, but it's like, have you really fulfilled your anything that you've gone out to do? Like, sure, you've had kids, your like generation is going to continue, but like you really haven't fulfilled anything if you're really deep there, right? For so even if I see the average Discordian, he's sitting on Discord, right? And it's like, oh well, he's sitting on Discord all day, right? It's like, okay, cool. He may have no friends. That's also cool. But really deep in there, in like 10 years, right? Or 20 years, you're not going to have the same set of friends, right? Unless in like very specific cases, you aren't going to have the same set of friends, right? In 10 years, also, yeah, you and your friends might like different things. You and your friends might fall off, right? You and my friends like no longer won't be friends anymore, right? So why not like spend time doing things that you like instead of like trying to get force yourself to have friends, instead of like force yourself to have friends that you know you won't be able to keep. It never really made sense to me. Like, I'm all for spending time with my friends, right? But it's like, dude, if I don't want to go hang out with your friends, like why would you make yourself or try and force yourself to go and hang out with them, right? If you don't really want to, because sure, you may want to look as if, oh yeah, I'm not a loser, I don't stay inside all day, right? I actually go out and hang out with my friends. But like when you do go out and hang out with your friends, you don't actually like the things that you're doing, like, so are you really spending time? Are you really enjoying life, or are you just doing it because of or like you want other people to have a certain perception of you, right? And like I get it, perception can be important in some cases, but like I think people really focus too much on what other people think of them, right? Because if really deeper, the person who is critiquing you has been through almost or very very similar life cases to you, right? They've gone to school, they've had that one embarrassing moment, they've probably called their teacher mother by accident once before, right? So really, when you have these overinflated perceptions of somebody else, right, you really need to think that, oh, you could also do that too. That's why, like, when I always hear people being like, oh yeah, I'm dumb, I'm not smart, oh yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that, it's like, no, there are certain things that you're good at and you're better at than any other thing, right? And you just aren't actually maximizing on that. I always know that every person who says that they're dumb is actually knows like what's it called? They know they're good at one thing or the other thing. And instead of like focusing or like the one thing and or the other thing that they're good at, and trying to like actually maximize their opportunities at that one thing, right? Instead, they try their hardest to maximize all of their stats in like things that they're just inherently not good at. Like, sure, you not being good at it, it can be out of your control, right? That's cool, but you not maximizing what you actually are good at, that is actually just completely your fault, if you get what I mean. In the same way in which like I don't want this to actually just become me ranting about people being stupid, but in the same way, like where people um they're class clowns in class. Everyone's always had a class clown in class, right? People always think like, oh well, if you spend all your time being the class clown, you never actually get anywhere in life. It's like, okay, well, one, that just isn't true, right? You can be funny and still be smart at the same time, right? But we all know that there are some specific people who spend all their time in class instead of actually studying and revising. Sometimes they're just spending it time trying to be funny. It's like, okay, cool. Even if you don't spend your time in class trying to be funny, right? Or even if you spend your time in class trying to be funny, all of those time that you're at home, who are you really trying to impress? Are you telling me that you're going to be at home trying to make your mom and dad laugh on the daily? Like, really? That isn't the entire point of like life. If you're going to actually try and progress anywhere, it's like cool, okay, you may not want to do it, right? But that's just the way things are. Like, I'm not some T jump level guy where I'm going to say, oh yeah, you should be allowed to do anything, right? As long as like it doesn't affect somebody else. It's like, okay, that isn't true. I can't just say, oh, I don't want time to go past, right? Therefore I'm going to try and stop times. Like, obviously that just doesn't seem to make sense. I think instead, there are certain things that are in place because they're trying to benefit the most amount of people, and you probably fit into the most amount of people. And everyone wants to always align themselves as some form of outlier all the time, but you probably fit into the majority. You are part of the most part of people who benefit from that, right? And it isn't a bad thing to actually be like not unique in certain aspects. I think everyone is unique in terms of what they're good at, right? And some people are very, very unique in terms of what they're bad at, right? But most people will still benefit from the same type of things, right? People learn in different ways, obviously, right? I learn from like reading, I learn from listening, right? I'd rather listen than read, right? If I'm trying to read or if I'm trying to like figure out some philosophical topic, I would rather watch a video about it than read a whole paper on it, right? Because I just don't learn like that, right? I'd rather not sit through 260 pages. Sorry, I'm not Monkey Boy, right? But at the same time, right, you probably some other people might like reading, right? And it's like, okay, cool, we both have different ways of like doing this one thing, right? So why don't we both focus on being able to maximize the things that we're good at instead of actually just trying to be good at something that we know we're not good at, right? If you get what I mean. Like, it's never really made sense to me, to be fair. Like, I was thinking about this while doing the dishes too. Like, to be fair, I always have these type of thoughts whenever I'm doing the dishes, because it's like I'm sitting in a room all alone. All I have is me, my headphones, and like thousands of dishes in front of me. Speaking of which, we need to actually start like I'd be fine with artificial intelligence taking the job of people doing the dishes. It is the most pointless thing to do. I don't understand. Why do people have to wait to the end of the day, right? For one person to do all of the dishes instead of just doing every single plate that they use, right? And boom, at the end of the day, nobody needs to wash anything up. I feel like usually the reason why most people don't want that to happen is because they're lazy, right? They don't want to clean up after themselves, right? So they want somebody else to do it for them, right? And it's like, okay, cool, bro. But like at the same time, if you were the person doing the dishes, you'd probably want that alternative too, right? If I knew that I didn't have to do the dishes, right, and I knew somebody else would do it before me or would do it instead of me, right, then I'd probably also favor that option too. I wouldn't want to do dishes if I didn't have to, right? But at the end of the day, if you always have the possibility of being part of those sets of people who are going to be sitting there doing the dishes, right, you might as well just maximize the benefits that you have if you were within that position, you know what I mean? Right? Also, why is this Australian guy cooking me? Wait, let me lock in for a second. Kurt thinks he's like that. Wait, he, I might actually lose this rally. Wait, okay, never mind. Would I lose? Nah, I'd win. If Australia went full power, he might cause me a little trouble. But would I lose? Nah, I'd win. You know what I mean? I always, I've never understood this though. Like, why would people go into certain situations though, thinking that they'd lose, right? Like, I've seen people arguing with another human being on Discord, right? And not only are they not confident in their own voice, right? But also they're like, oh, nah, I'm gonna lose anyway. It's like, dude, if you're going to come in not thinking that you'd win, why would you start doing the thing anyway? It's never really made sense to me, you know what I mean? Wait a minute. Bad bitch start following me on TikTok. Give me a second. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know why people do it like certain things if they were just going to come in with the mindset that they were going to lose. Not only does that make you worse, right? You will never improve if you just go into every single conversation you have with another human being thinking that, oh, I'm going to lose. You're never going to progress anywhere, right? But at the same time, it's like, dude, why are you being such a like, why are you being such a, you're basically like, this is basically knees on a whole nother level, right? A higher lower level, as Bubbles would call it, right? You're basically just like admitting that you'd lose to somebody else without actually hearing out like what they're saying, right? If you really think about it, if you really take some time to listen to like people like Ariel, who do people consider as high tiers? I know Ariel Flame is a major example. The only reason I keep picking on him is because people think he's way better than he is, right? But aside from him, who else do really people really think is good? People like hmm hmm this is tough. Oh yeah, people like Noodles, right? If you really deeper, really think about what he's saying, right? Or Spencer, you really think about what they're saying, right? Aside, like ignore all of the Naruto stuff. Immediately you ask them about something that is not related to Naruto at all, they completely lose all of their like quote unquote skill, right? But if your skill is only limited to one, oh shit, wait, my alarm's going off. I wonder whose this alarm could be set for. Give me a second. Short Short intermediate break. Intermediate break is over, but yeah, as I was saying, I don't know why you'd come into like, oh, if you really take a second to look at like or listen to what Arrow and like Noodles and what's it called, I know Six is actually, he knows what he's talking about most of the time, but if you really listen to what like Noodles is saying, right, regardless of what's it called, regardless of like his Naruto knowledge, right, really listen to what he's saying, you can tell that he doesn't actually know what he's talking about and he's not very skilled. He's what did Seth call him? He's what Seth calls a knowledge Andy, where he just relies on his knowledge to actually just win. Like he's basically just reading you manga panels, right? And he's not really giving you anything of substance aside from that. And it's like, dude, does that really take any skill? Like just reading manga panels to me? Why is he catching up? But it doesn't really take much skill. So like I don't understand. Like relative to that time in the community, sure, it could have been really good, considered really good, right? Because like, oh yeah, he knows how to argue over translations, or oh, he's translated the manga really often, but like, he's not really that good. So I don't know why people always have like think that oh he's this insurmountable wall that I will never be able to get past. His argumentation divine, his fluency beautiful, his intelligence magnanimous, right? It's like why would you have this mindset? Because really think about it. All these people are who you're always talking to. Either they are someone who's probably gone through the exact same situations as you. They've probably been the same skill level as you before, right? Or if it's in terms of a Discord debate, is someone who literally is Noodles is a white guy sitting behind the screen, dude. Like, I'm not going to say make any comments on how he looks because who cares how he looks. But at the end of the day, he's just a guy sitting behind the screen. So if he's a guy sitting behind the screen, why would you really actually be intimidated by some guy sitting behind the screen because he's read something more than you? Or why would you be intimidated by another guy sitting behind the screen because he knows more than you or because he sounds better than you, right? Because obviously he didn't get born sounding that well, right? People weren't born sounding the way they were, right? People were born like people had to go through stages, right? So really think about it, right? Think about this. Whenever you look at someone who is quote unquote intimidated or intimidating, right? Just think about it, right? They probably have once called their teacher mother by accident before, and they've probably once like done something really embarrassing before that they probably don't want you to talk about, right? Or they probably don't want anyone to know, right? So if you really think about it from that, right, you stop idealizing them and you start putting other people into a more realistic perspective. Not only will you have such a better perspective of yourself, right, but you will also have a better perspective of other people, because then you're able to actually appreciate how hard they've had to work to actually get to where they were. Not in terms of noodles though. All he did was read a manga, like everyone does that, right? But some people just don't know how to argue. Like I think it's like it takes simple conversational skills to be able to argue, or to be able to not well argue, to discord debate, right? It takes simple conversational skills, to be fair. All you need to do is just whenever someone speaks, listen. And if you don't understand something, ask them to repeat it. And that basically boils down to how to argue, right? And then they say something and you think that is stupid, you refute it, right? Now I'm finding like I know people on like Code might go like ape mode. Oh, you cut me off, you cut me off. I'm fine with like interjections, right? But it's like, dude, if I tell you to stop speaking because I'm not done with what I'm saying, and you're like, why am I obligated to let you speak? It's like, dude, you don't speak like that in real life. When someone tells you to stop speaking, you stop speaking, right? Even in real life, you don't tell your mom, oh, why am I obligated to stop speaking? Because, no, dude, that's just unnatural, that's lame, and nobody does that, right? I've seen literally on COD, I've seen people just become like a set archetype of like person. They hear someone who they think is good. For example, famous example actually, Infinity. They hear Infinity, they think he's good, right? And then immediately all they can do from there is just try and copy every single thing he does. And it's like I once made an announcement on the server. I was like, okay, who's going to be the next Infinity? Right? Because Infinity is leaving for college or something, right? I was like, who's going to be the next Infinity? If you see how many people said me, right? It's like, dude, why do you want to be the next version of another man? Right? Why don't you want to be yourself, right? People are just going to keep copying his own arguments, right? They're going to copy some stuff Infinity's learnt on his own, right? It wasn't something that somebody else taught him. He learnt it on his own. And instead of actually like improving upon that, let's say you're very creative, right? You're like Nagi, right? Instead of improving on what other you've seen other people do, right? So it'd be akin to Nagi watching Noah Noah play. Instead of improving on what you saw him do, you just copy and paste it, right? So it turns into a script, right? Where you just keep repeating the same arguments he says over and over again, right? Because you actually just have nothing, like no form of critical thinking behind what you're saying, right? So immediately you say something, or immediately your opponent says something that you don't know or you haven't heard Infinity refute before, right? All you do is you just flounder. I think all you and then once you lose, you ask Infinity like, oh, the answer, right? And if he knows, and then he tells you, right? And then it just restarts, right? Because then now have a new dialogue tree, right? You're actually expanding your character, and since you've expanded your character, right, that means you actually are able to respond to more stuff. But immediately, because this happens to everyone, you see something that you don't understand, you get hit with an argument by someone who has way more knowledge than you. So you haven't heard of the arguments they're making before, right? And since you haven't heard the arguments they're making before, you immediately start floundering because you don't actually possess any form of critical thinking, right? So I think that's one of the major flaws behind like people debating, and the reason why most people are quitting is either a because when most of the old gen people, the reason why they left the com is because people started like doxing. That was when nuking and doxing was getting introduced to the community, right? But either a it's that, right, which is a valid or fair enough reason, right, or b the reason why they quit is because they aren't actually good enough to actually like do stuff on their own. And of course, if they aren't good enough, people are going to bully them, right? And if you, and you know, I'm one of the main proponents of that. If someone isn't good at something, I'm going to tell them they aren't good at it, right? In the same way, if someone says, "Oh, I'm not good," right? It's like either a, I'll be like, "Oh, okay." If I think they're better than me, it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, explain to me how I can improve." Right? Or I watch it instead because obviously that's gonna sound like knees. Or just watch it, see what they do, right? See, oh, well they do this, and this, and I'm not doing this, and this, right? Maybe I try and adapt this in my own way instead of like it's basically the difference between cramming and putting things into your own words, right? Immediately you'd see something that oh you haven't hard crammed for, right? Or you haven't like a robot, just repeated responses that you've seen on a like textbook, right? Instead of doing that, you're able to put it into your own words, right? And since it's in your own words, you're actually able to adapt to you, develop your own critical thinking, right? Instead of just borrowing and hijacking someone else's critical thinking like a parasite. It's never actually made much sense to me, you know? Wait, okay, this game's getting close. Let me lock in. Wait, wait, wait. I just got shit on. Wait, one more, one more. Come on. Equal. 12-12. Oh my god. I'm bringing this back. Oh my god. I'm the best ever. But, yeah. I don't know why people like just find it so hard to actually use their critical thinking. It's like it's not something unique that like it's not something unique that you're doing to like what's it called? It's not something like whenever you crime, you're not doing anything unique. Also, why do people like what's it called? Have you ever seen males self improvement where they're always like, oh, don't do this, disappear, become a monk for 5 to 10 days, right? And it's like, dude, you're able to improve yourself without actually like becoming a monk and like abandoning your family because you're on the pursuit of strength. Like one, you aren't an anime character. Have you like all of those people I see on TikTok, right? Who are always like they post two clips of them going to the gym, right? And the rest of the account is just them saying, oh, I want the bulky physique. It's like, dude, you're corny. Nobody finds this like no girl is going to see this TikTok and going to be like, yeah, this is my dream guy, right? And no, if you look back on those type of posts in like two days, right? Because I won't even say 2 years, right? If you look at back at that post in 2 days, right, you're going to feel embarrassed. If you don't feel embarrassed, then you're too far gone already, right? But if you're able, you need to just be able to like have any form of self discipline, right? Yeah, trying to deprive or trying to deprive yourself of like external stimuli because you're trying to remain quote unquote disciplined, right? And you don't want to lose focus. That just shows that you don't actually have discipline in the first place, right? Because think about it. Once those 6 months of quote unquote being a monk is over and you've achieved everything that you want to achieve, right? Immediately you get like the same things that caused you to be this way before, right? You're going to be like, or you're going to just fall back down into that cycle. You're going to go from quote unquote ripped with abs, right? Then you're going to go back to having a pot belly or something, or you're going to go back to smoking and drinking and all of that stuff, right? It needs to be some sort of conscious decision to actually stop doing it rather than like you just trying to ignore the thing or trying to run away from the thing, right? Because immediately that thing finds you again, you are going to immediately just fall back onto like into the same old habits that you were doing before, right? And even though that might not be true for some people, hence why I'm just generalizing here, right? But that might not be true for some people. Some people maybe actually be able to master the monk style, but generally, most of these people, the fact that they're actually posting become a monk for 6 months on TikTok, right, means that they probably aren't actually becoming a monk, right? They probably aren't actually becoming a monk. They probably aren't actually like trying to delete all of their social media because not only do most of them have their Instagram in their bio, right, where it's beast motivation or something, or unlock your inner alpha in this website now for £5 a month. Like it's like, dude, you aren't becoming a monk. You aren't even practicing what you preach. If I was the type of person to do that, wouldn't it make the most sense to just like put one post and then never post again, right? To show that you're actually doing that and doing the thing that you set out to do. And it's like the only person I can accept who does that is that one guy who's like, oh yeah, do 100 push-ups, because you can actually see him doing some of the workouts that he's doing on like the actual thing, right? But most of them don't actually do that. But the only thing they post is they post other people being successful. And the issue is if you're posting other people being successful, right, and you're trying to use that as motivating somebody else, then I don't understand. Why don't you post yourself too if you're also supposed to be on the same type of journey as everyone else is, right? Why don't you post yourself being successful, right? Wouldn't that be more motivating than seeing another person who they probably hold like unrealistic ideals towards as someone who's like quote unquote the goal to be here? But yeah, if like video, like, subscribe. That's been it. I had a lot more to talk about today. Probably we're try to keep it that way again. But yeah, like, subscribe. If no like, kill family. Bye.